Hi everybody, so this is the last video of our trip to Cambodia.
We're excited to share our story about our experience in Cambodia and our travel with a really incredible group called Sustainable Cambodia. We had a chance to visit schools in different communities and see the kind of work that they do as part of our adventure, so we're excited to share that with you.
The main site we went to was this school in the small town of Pursat. So the way it works in Cambodia is half of the students have school in the morning and the other half have school in the afternoon. Parents who have enough money pay private classes to their kids the half day when they don't have school. But if your parents don't have money to do that, well then you can only go to school half a day, and that's usually not good enough. So what Sustainable Cambodia does at their main site in Pursat is provide tutoring classes in English, in math, and in computers that kind of complement the half day of school that you get at a public school.
Boy, be by hippo. 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 Hey, good. 3, 2, 1. Guava. Guava. Yeah! Guava! Good job!
So because of our visit, they had organized this show where students would perform traditional Cambodian dances, and it was really cute to watch.
It was also really fun to play games with them because they like to hear native English speakers and they pick up on some of our slang words and our mannerisms. So we played a lot of games where we each said different words and they said it the way that they hear it, and then we'd say it the way that we say it, like in America or in the UK or in Australia. So we had like 3 different accents going on with the group that was with us, but it was really fun to hear how everyone said the same word in a different way.
So one of the things I found really interesting was all the motivational signs that were scattered throughout the schools. It was actually really cool to watch, and they're both in English and in Khmer. So then the next thing that we did, which was really cool, was to go to the high school in Pursat. And we had an incredible welcome over there with hundreds of students lined up on both sides of the alley and clapping as we were walking. It was absolutely incredible. Sustainable Cambodia there financed the computer lab.
Yeah, the computer lab is really an incredible training ground for these kids to learn how to code. They learned how to type in English and to write computer code, and it was very well attended. There were kids at every computer, and computers seemed to work well, and there was a lot of easy access to them. And that's going to be really important as they go off and start careers in the computer industry.
The other thing I found really cool was the parking lot, where you can see that half of the students come to school with bicycles and the other half comes to school with scooters. After visiting a couple of sites in Pursat proper, we got a chance to travel the countryside and go visit schools in remote villages. And one of the schools had just been built a couple of years prior, and it was a really cute school.
What I found particularly interesting was the design of these kindergarten schools in these very rural areas,
with all the little signs painted on the walls. The thing that was interesting is Sustainable Cambodia asked those local communities what it is that they really needed. And the first thing that came up was kindergarten, which is not something that they had expected.
Another important aspect of the way the school is designed is to ensure that kids are regularly fed. And they make them a meal each day. And as you see, the kids taught how to wash their hands and prepare for a meal. So they learn basic hygiene skills at the school, which is something that they may or may not learn at home.
When women have to take care of their young kids because there's no school for them, they cannot have a job. So having this primary school is a way to allow women to have jobs. So Cambodia is a tropical climate, and there is the rainy season and the dry season. And during the rainy season, there's plenty of water, so it's easy to find it. But then people have to store water for the dry season, and they usually store them in those tanks. Some of them have a lid on it to prevent mosquitoes and stuff from falling in the water, but sometimes they don't. And then when it's the dry season, the only place where you can get water is in the river or in ponds, and now the water is being shared with like cattle and other wild animals, and the water is not always clean. One of the things that some NGOs do is provide wells, but the thing that Sustainable Cambodia does is provide filters.
So one of the best methods for purifying water is using a biosand filter. Here you see these filters that were made from concrete. They were poured into a form, and that form then is taken apart. And you have a concrete structure that allows you to fill the form with sand, with different sizes of gravel, and put an enzyme layer at the top. And in doing so, when you pour water through it, it doesn't matter what the source of the water is, it filters through all of that medium and becomes 99% purified. And there are many different types. This one in particular is very easy to make. You'll see the pipe at the bottom where the water kind of filters through there. These biosand filters are really a tremendous asset to communities in rural areas that don't have access to clean water.
And then the other thing that they were making were those big tanks that's made of concrete. So basically you make those two halves and then you put them together in the end. And a tank like this holds enough water for a family of 4 for the entire dry season. So it's just very, very important and a lot better than the little tanks that we saw earlier that just don't last for the entire dry season. So the top layer will have a lid on it, and the bottom one has like a base, and the final product is this big round tank. And the one that we saw at school had the word that was painted on it. It was actually really cool.
The other important thing about the tanks is that they connect to the roof lines of a lot of the schools so that they harvest the rainwater as it comes down the roof into the gutter and then into the reservoir.
So we didn't just visit schools and projects, we also got a chance to just visit the countryside in rural Cambodia and got to see all the different wildlife and the chickens and the turkeys and the little ducks and cows, and it was just really fun to watch. You guys all know how much we like farm animals, and it was actually nice to see. So the other thing that was interesting is in the countryside they had all those cricket traps because people eat crickets in Cambodia. So they had those plastic sheets with a neon light on top of it, and the neon light attracts the cricket, and then they get stuck against the plastic sheet and then they fall in the water below, and then every morning you come and collect those crickets in the water. Unless the cows come and drink the water of the crickets, which is not really the intended purpose, but it sometimes happens.
Good source of protein.
Then we got a chance to go visit the market in Pursat, and among all the fruits and veggies that you would expect to see, there's also some items that were kind of different. So they were selling cockroaches, which I guess people eat.
And then there were these enormous snails. I've never seen snails that big.
They were huge. So you can see the scale of the snails compared to James's hands. They were huge. And then there was also snakes. People eat snakes over there. And the thing that was funny is just all the flies that were flying around the fish and the meat and all that. I hope they cook it really, really well, because you don't want to eat this tartare.
It wasn't funny, it was gross.
So if you enjoy this video,
Give it a big thumbs up
and put your comments
in the comment section below.
We're going to have a lot of descriptions about Sustainable Cambodia in the description below. If you want to help Sustainable Cambodia, or if you want to sponsor a child, we're going to put a link to their website. And if you want to subscribe to our channel, we're going to put a link right here. And then we're going to put a link to our next video somewhere here right above James' face, and then another one right here. Bye.
Bye.